This is such a special place for me because growing up in Austin, every 4th of July, my mom would go to Target and she would buy the biggest bag of popcorn you could buy because she loved Target popcorn. She would buy my favorite candy, which is hot tamales and a 6-pack of Coke, and she would come home, and then my dad and my mom would load my sister and I up, and we would get a bunch of blankets in the car, and we would drive to this location, Auditorium Shores. And we would spread those blankets out and get our popcorn and get my favorite candy. And we would sit amongst thousands and thousands of people. And then night would set in and the fireworks display would begin. And I remember as a little boy just watching the fireworks over the Austin skyline. It was amazing. It was so big to me because when they would explode in the air, it was the biggest thing I had ever seen. And when the lights would come up and the explosions would happen, what was awesome is the entire Austin skyline would be lit. That was an incredible, incredible memory for me as a little boy. You know, a few years after that, I discovered that, typical display in a city like this, a fireworks display, costs between $100,000 to $200,000. In fact, in some cities, it's millions and millions and millions of dollars for a 30-minute firework display. I mean, think about this. For a $3 million firework display over 30 minutes, that's $100,000 a minute. And from my perspective, that's a lot of money. But guys, that's my perspective. And what I know when it comes to money is we all have perspectives when it comes to money. For some, we would say, hey, it's all about saving money. For others, they would have a perspective all about, giving money. And then for others, it's all about spend, and then we run out of money, then we gotta borrow a little bit more and spend some more. And then for others, it's all about being wise and smart and investing our money. What I know when it comes to money, we all have a perspective. And have you ever thought about where your perspective on money comes from? Did it come from your mom? Did it come from your dad? Did it come from your upbringing or maybe a mentor who taught you about money? And have you ever thought about what God's perspective is for money? If God is for you, if He is undeniably and unquestionably for your life and for your relationships, have you ever thought about His perspective on money? See, if we could see as God sees, I think we would trust God in incredible, incredible ways. And in one of the most defining moments in the history of our church with For Austin, I think it's important to ask these questions. What's our perspective on money? Where'd that perspective come from? And ultimately, what's God's perspective? Guys, I hope you have a great time in your group talking about these things. And I'll see you next week for part 4.